What's going on, guys? Welcome to yet another episode of Tales with me, S.A. Gandhi. And in today's episode, we have Yash. Yash is a fourth year undergraduate student, and he's currently placed into a top company. And in today's podcast, we're going to talk about his placement journey, and he's going to give us share some tips and to ace his placement and get into top companies with good CTCs. So, first of all, welcome to the show, Yash. It's a pleasure having you.
It's a pleasure being here, Gandhi. Thank you for inviting me
Uh,
over.
well, congratulations on getting placed and in a top company in a good job role. So, how does it feel?
It's a good feeling, obviously, but then it's not exactly a top company. It's just like okay, काम चल जाएगा kind of company.
All right.
And yeah, it wasn't about the placement exactly for me, but um, I think most of few fourth years will also face it. It was the dilemma of going abroad for further studies or
Yeah.
placement at first. So at first I was more inclined towards foreign, higher studies, but because this landed, so I took it up, and here we are. I think
All
I'll
right.
work for like a couple of years, and then I'll go further. Yeah.
All right. Which company got placed and what do they specialize in? What's your job role?
Okay, so I got placed in this company called Caterpillar. It's a core role so far. I was told that it would be a core role
All right.
because I belong to ECE.
All right.
It's called an associate engineer. So what exactly happened was Caterpillar came for three roles. That is your software developer, your associate engineer, and some other role for mechanical, which I don't remember exactly like what it's called.
All right.
So I went through the process and all of that, and the wait so yeah so I went through the process, and during the interview, because my resume had a lot of CSE stuff, I asked them, can I switch my role to a software developer side, or will I have to stick to a core ECE role? So then they said that you'll have 6 months of training, 6 months of internship.
All right.
So, and after those 6 months, you can switch to you can choose your project. During those 6 months, you can work on that project, and after your project, you can choose what you exactly want to do.
All right. So every company
What
has
you
an internship period, or like only few companies will have this internship period.
most of them, almost like 80 to 90% have an internship period.
All right.
Like even if they don't have a full time, they will definitely have an internship. They'll come for either internship or internship plus full time.
All right. Fine.
So and for Caterpillar, they chose in two ways. They conducted interviews for everyone, but then they selected in two batches. One batch was just for internship, and the other batch was internship plus full time. Like based on your performance during the process, they'll select you just for internship or for internship plus full time. So and during the process, for the EC role, I cracked the internship plus full time.
So, like, when did you actually start your preparation for your placements and such? Like, what does your placement journey look like?
So preparation as such, there wasn't any preparation as in the core placement preparation, which involves your aptitude, your DSA, your DBMS, your OS, and your EC. Like for example, if you're going for a tech role, a core role, your EC stuff. That never happened actually. So what actually, how it went about is that first your Cisco came. Cisco comes around July.
All
So
right.
early July or late June it comes, and that's when we realize that okay, fine. Now the heat is picking up, and we need to start with our training and all of that. They have the CIR conducts this pre-placement training. CIR is our college's placement cell, and they conduct the training and all of that. But that's not sufficient, because what they are training you for is the core company. The mass companies, because
All right.
most mass companies and the not so well-known companies,
Okay.
they are more interested in your aptitude and your soft skills and all of that.
All right.
The better companies are interested in your technical stuff, and your projects and all that, which they don't really train you upon.
Okay.
But CIR has picked that up as a feedback, and hopefully they'll rectify their curriculum in the future. But let's see. Again, I wouldn't count on that. So so when Cisco came, and then subsequently another company, I think that was Volvo, which came. So these companies started coming, and then we realized that okay, fine, we need to shift gears and we need to do something about it. And that's when we started looking into data structures and all that, because we belong to EC, and
Correct.
our not just EC, even CSE people, they don't really look into much of data structures.
Correct.
Data structures is always in the backseat.
I mean, coding
But
is
then,
always tough for everybody in
yeah,
general.
but then data structure is not just coding. It's just
Correct.
I don't know, bro. It's like I don't know. It just never comes automatically to you.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
So, and it's not very I don't know. It's not very interesting as well. When you compare it to the other domains, like you have your projects which you work on for
Right,
like
right.
in DL or ML or blockchain and all of that. That's much more interesting. That's much more productive as well.
Correct,
But
true.
data structures is just you solving problems blindly and with no further end result. I mean, you just solve a problem and you get some points on code forces, and that's my point of view.
All right.
But people who are actually seasoned competitive programmers might see it differently, and they might actually like it also, which is a good thing. So data structure and all of that we picked up after that.
All right.
Everyone, not just TC people, CSE people also.
Yeah.
So then data structures happened, and we started looking into all these operating system concepts
Okay.
because that was not a subject for us. We had to
Correct.
do it ourselves. So that happened, and then one by one, all the companies came. Um, so the catch here is that the companies, they don't really look at what you have done in your resume, like the exposure that you display, that you exhibit with your projects
Right.
or your work, until you crack their first round, because for every company that comes, there are going to be students from Amrita, Bangalore and Coimbatore sitting,
All right.
and I think Chennai also. Chennai this year, next year you guys will have it. So there's like approximately 1.2k people sitting for each company,
All right.
and there's no easy way to shortlist people based on their resumes.
Right.
Very few companies do it. Caterpillar also did it. I'll tell you, like I'll come to that. So first they'll have their online test,
All right.
and based on the online test, 70% of the people are just kicked out from there. So,
Okay.
and that online test majorly has data structures.
All right. Yeah.
Like even if there's no aptitude or something, data structures will be there for sure. Like doesn't matter if it's a core company or if it's a I mean, sometimes it does matter. Like Bosch and all won't really keep data structures, but um, most of the companies will have some data structures or some DBMS in it in the online test. And if you don't go through the online test, then you're automatically kicked out without. They said that the data structures part, not all companies do it. Bosch will not do it, and some core companies might not do it. But it is like once you crack the online test is when people start to notice you. Like when the recruiters start to notice you, go through your resume and see what you've done. So you had asked me about placement journey, right? Throughout,
Yeah.
like during.
Yeah. What happened? Like,
So
how do you start preparing and stuff? The place for placements.
okay, yeah. So for preparing, that's when like we took up data structures, then we did some lead code, and then we went through a company, got ranked, and then we came back.
All right.
And it was just like it was just a cycle until something like you got lucky and something finally opened
Okay.
up for you, or you managed to put your foot through the door. Um, so all of the Slate code and DSA started only after the placement stuff. The
And
placements
first
began.
companies start coming.
Yeah, first company started coming. That's when we realized that okay, like it's starting to get real, and we need to buckle up and do something about it.
All right.
So and coming to the ECE part, the ECE part again, it changes with the requirements of the company. You never know what the company is going to ask, like which company is going to ask you what type of questions, like where
True.
they actually specialize in, which domain they are actually looking for. The job role determines the questions that they'll ask you, right?
All
So
right.
and the company's values and what the company primarily works on. Like for example, Bosch is a core company for ECE,
Okay.
but it's not that they'll work on every component of ECE, right? They'll work
Yeah.
on
Correct.
specific control systems.
True.
So and some electrical stuff. So that's something like for Bosch we have to concentrate on that.
All right.
But for some other company, like say Arista Networks,
All
you'll
right.
have to concentrate more on data communication in the network. So
Correct.
it keeps changing, and you can't really study everything at once and go. Like for all companies, you can't just study everything and go, because you're
All
bound
right.
to forget stuff. Um, So
Since
yeah,
you
that's
spoke
how it
about data
was.
structures and like the computer
Uh,
part, because being an ECE student, so like example, like ECE students, mechanical students, and other department students won't be having CSE related topics, but the
mhm.
software companies' jobs are open for almost all the departments. So how did you manage your CSE topics? Like how do you prepare for your CSE
Uh,
topics?
yeah, so about that, the CSE topics, the data structures and all, I never managed to actually crack it.
Okay.
Because like to some extent I was fine with it, but I can't really say that I that wasn't the factor through which I got through my company.
Okay.
um, but to answer your question, data structures and all of that, I managed to solve, and I managed to study because I had some background in programming myself.
Okay.
So the programming language and all wasn't a problem for me at all. The
Okay.
problem was the way you start thinking in terms of your algorithms and the right
Understood.
data
Yeah.
structure to use and all of that. And that came just with practice.
Okay.
And for practice, you're going to have to start with, you're going to have to start at least like 6 months before your placement start, because 6 months is a pretty good time. Because more than 6 months, I would say, if you do it, then it's really good.
All right.
But more than 6 months is, I'm saying it's like if you do it, it's very good, but it won't be possible because you're going to have a lot of stuff in your third year.
Right.
Third year is when you probably want to do a lot of
Both
stuff. You want
part of
to
the department starts picking a lot.
yeah, like third year is where you learn a lot of stuff about the department, where
All
you
right.
learn a lot of core stuff about what you're learning,
Correct.
and like what you're doing in your branch. So and you are you probably want to publish a lot of papers, you probably
Right.
want to do a lot of projects. Yeah, so and you want to you are probably looking for higher studies, so you might be preparing for gate also, sorry, GRE also.
Correct. Yeah.
So third year is when you'll be very busy with all of this, and spending time per day to do data structures consistently more than 6 months would be it'll be hard for you.
Okay.
When you're managing your academics and all of that,
Correct.
along
Yeah.
with your GRE and your projects and your papers
Understood.
and all, so it's going to be hard. But 6 months is the right time. Like it's balanced.
All right.
And if you do it consistently, I don't see why there will be a problem. So
Okay.
6 months, data structures, OS and DBMS you can pick up on the fly. It's not a big deal.
All right.
And they don't really care much about it also, unless you're going to a very specifically core software company like Codenation or Razorpay,
Okay.
or these startups which really care about your
Coding skills. Yeah.
in-depth. Yeah. So other than that, you'll be fine if you start data structure 6 months, or like let's say your placement start in July, start
Okay.
from January or February also. Right now you start, so that you'll be fine. Just consistency is key, and because there'll be consistency, you will face similar problems, so you'll be fine.
So you spoke about resumes and stuff. Like, how do you build? How
Mhm.
important is the resume in terms of your placement to get into top companies,
Okay.
as well as how do you build a good resume?
So resume. So you are essentially selling yourself, right? And you need to make sure that your price tag matches with your price tag is basically your CTC.
Okay.
It matches with the skills you're offering.
All right.
So and your skills need to be like, it's not like you can just show off, like you can just put your skills across as a list.
All right.
You also need to be credible for it. And for being credible, your resume has to be it shouldn't just be a piece of paper, it should be three-dimensional. Like what I mean by that is that um, if you have your resume,
Okay.
and if you are mentioning your education, your prior experience, your club activities, and your projects and your papers and your hackathons and all of that, there has to be some credible proof. I mean, something that the recruiter can see beyond your resume. Like for example, you can include links to your resumes, or
All
you
right.
can sorry, you can include links to your projects, and you can include links to like let's say you came first at a hackathon or something.
Okay.
There will be a leaderboard, or there will be some like
A met,
the hackathon
a metric.
website itself will have some,
Oh,
yeah.
yeah. Correct.
So you can include a link to that, or if you have a GitHub page, you have a very cool project to show.
Yeah.
You can include links to that. So that is what I mean by three-dimensional.
Okay.
And coming to the part of resume building,
All right.
CIR will guide you through it very comprehensively.
Okay.
Um, although there are some things that you have to modify for each company. Like for example, CIR has this weird rule of I don't know if it's entirely weird. I think it's fine, but they want you to put your photo on each resume, but not
Yeah.
every company is fine with that.
All right.
I don't think that's a problem because you're going through college. If you're going alone, then that would probably that might pose a problem. But uh, they'll guide you through the entire resume building process properly.
All right.
And the only thing you have to take care of is that I've seen many people um, in the process of including whatever they have done in their resume, they exceed more than one page or more than 2 pages, which
Okay.
is not the right thing to do.
All right.
So here's where your judgment comes in. You're supposed to gauge which project is like
It's
what you
like a
want.
balance between what you're good at and like what you're not really good at.
Exactly.
All
So
right.
what you want to portray properly, and that changes with you can't have one resume for all companies.
Okay.
So if I am going for an interview with Bosch,
Okay.
so I might want to highlight that I'm good at control systems, or
Okay.
I probably have like 7 projects, but my control system projects are only 2 of them.
All
So
right.
I will make sure that they are at the top of the list, and I might probably omit the other 5 or the
All right.
other 4 or 3,
Okay. The resume is
just so that
dynamic with respect to companies and stuff, right?
yeah, it has to be dynamic with respect to companies, and you need to be smart enough to gauge what you want to show, what you want to
All right.
market, and then your achievements. Make sure that um, okay, this is not really an advice I'd give you, but if you're really into if you really want your resume to look very glossy and all of that, you should participate in more and more events like hackathons and
All
contests,
right.
and or publish more papers. But again, I said this is not some advice I'd give you because don't do this for the sake of a resume. Do
Okay.
this because you want to make a name. Like you want a paper to be published under your name. You want something. You want to be a research scholar. You
All
want a
right.
distinction with your degree. So do it for that. Don't do it for the resume because, to be frank, resume. I'll tell you, the companies don't really expect anything in your resume. You're nothing but a fresher to them.
Correct.
They expect a normal college graduate who can do their work.
Correct.
They are looking for people to work for them. That's it.
All
You
right.
are just doing all of this so that you give them more than what they expect.
Correct.
So yeah, like if you're doing hackathons and all for the sake of resume, don't. I mean, you can do it, but make sure that you actually get the feel of what you're doing. Make
All
sure
right.
that you actually like it, because the objective here is to enjoy your college life. Like you have to be happy with what you do, right? So
Correct.
don't just do it for the sake of a resume.
Also, one thing, for example, I'm more into app development, but I don't
Okay.
have much of projects in that. But in my college, they taught foundation of machine learning or data science.
Mm-hmm.
I've done like our semester projects. So can I
Mm-hmm.
include those? Though those are not my expertise and not my expert areas, can I add those machine learning and data science? Because those are not something I've explored more. Only what was taught in college, I've done exactly what I've taught.
Okay.
But web and app, I've done much more. Like I've explored more, but I've not done much projects. So
Mm-hmm.
how do I resolve this dilemma?
It depends. Now, like I said, the resume will have to keep changing with company, right? So if your company, let's say there's a startup heavily invested in AI.
All right.
So like if you really want to crack that interview,
Okay.
then you might have to let your web development projects take a little like go a little behind,
All right.
and you might have to let your AI, although you've not done much with it, you
Okay.
might have to let it come front, but not to the extent of letting your resume look bad.
All
Like
right.
for example, if you really think that your web development projects have a greater edge, like
Okay.
they are very very groundbreaking, or not exactly groundbreaking, you think you're very proud of them,
All
and you
right.
really want them to notice.
Okay.
So then in such a case, you can let it be at the top of your list.
All right.
But you can also mention that you have done courses with your ML, although you have not done much work with it. You
All
can
right.
tell them, you can give them confidence that you are more eager to work towards this. And in order to be able to do that, you'll have to list at least something you have done with ML, because not just just putting up a course and saying that you're very eager to do it won't really cut it, because when you say you're eager to do something, there has to be at least some work that you have done, right? So
Correct. Correct. True.
so you might have to include that. So
Okay.
worst case, if you don't have that also, then you can just then you just go full macho and say that this is what I'm proud of, this is what I've done so
All
far,
right.
but I've done this, but this is the quality of my work with the stuff that I'm interested in.
All right.
So and I'm actually interested in working with your company. um, so this you'll have to say during your interview. Your resume cannot convey all of this
Right. True.
beyond an extent. So you can always say that this is the stuff I'm proud of. You can share your screen, show your project, all of that. But you will have to be very confident in saying that with your company I'm very interested, and I'll apply the same amount of interest in whatever I do with you guys. So
All right. Okay.
that's
So
how it works.
convincing them that you're a good fit for the company.
Yeah,
All right.
like
So
you'll do
speaking.
everything to you'll basically have to sell yourself.
Yeah, correct. True. Is that. So, like, speaking of the next thing, is the most what do you call a very interesting question or interesting thought most people have.
Mm.
Is CGPA a really important factor in your placement? Does it play an important role? Or
No, yeah, CGPA they don't even ask. So first thing is yeah, the CGPA with a couple of companies I've seen that they are very strict. Like for example, CSE,
all right.
Intuit came first along with Cisco. Cisco came on 28th. Intuit came on 30th July.
Okay.
So as far as I remember, so July Intuit they came just for internship.
Okay.
No, they came for internship plus full time, but they picked only one intern. So that they had a CGPA criteria of 9.
Okay.
Okay, so and because the CGPA criteria was 9, not many people were able to make it from Bangalore campus.
All right.
And it was only BTech CSE with 9 CGPA. So that was one criteria. Then Cisco usually comes with 8, but for our batch it came with 7.
Okay.
I don't know. It was probably because of COVID or whatever, but that was a good thing. And Arista came with 8.5 CGPA criteria.
Okay.
So these select companies, they'll come with their own CGPA criteria, but it's just a cutoff.
Okay.
After that cutoff, nobody cares. Nobody will even ask you about your CGPA. They just want to see what you bring to the table.
Right. So it's safe to say having a CGPA between 8 to 8.5 gives you more chance of getting to more companies, attending more companies interview stuff.
I would say a CGPA of more than 7.5 is enough.
Okay.
8 is really good.
Okay.
8.5 is brilliant. You can attend every company except probably Intuit.
All right.
Yeah, 7.5 is peaceful. My CGPA was around 8.3.
Okay.
So I could attend every company except for Intuit. I'm ECE, so I can't attend. This Arista Networks was 8.5, but I was not into networking, so I wasn't going to attend it anyway. Cisco came for software, so that I attended and I got rejected. Then every other company was fine. Like I could attend all the companies.
Okay. So, like, speaking of the next thing, internships. Like, how important are internships to your resume? And like
Again, internship. So, like I said, these people they don't really expect anything from freshers.
okay.
So internship is a really good add-on. You can tell that you have worked with a corporation and you learn something from there, and you know how business works, and
Okay.
you know exactly what to contribute in. So like an internship is a way of saying that you have some work experience and you're confident that after working here, I am fit for this domain. I really want to go forward with this.
Alright.
So an internship is not exactly what they want, but if you have it, then you obviously have a very you have a greater like you have an upper hand.
Alright.
You have greater chances. So and again, if you have an internship, make sure, like if it's from a startup or something, then it's not really. See again, if you have an internship from a very small startup, like from Internshala, any startup you take, they won't really mind. They won't ask. They'll just ask you what you did, and that's it. They won't go into details about. They won't tell you that this company is not even so big, and I don't think you have done much work and all of that, because they're just like, okay, freshers, they have done something. We need to recruit them, and that's it. Their job is just to recruit, right? Yeah, and if you if you're very confident in your internship, you can boast about it. You can tell a lot about it. You can make it your plus point. You can make it your stronghold from where you play the game. Or you can plainly tell them that the internship that I did it during I told them this because both my internships in second year, second year as in during second year, like after third sem, That was when COVID had started.
Yeah.
So I was sitting at home only in online classes. So I thought, okay, I'll just do one internship to see what it's like. So then I landed two internships, and both I did side by side. But because the internships were work from home, I told them that those internships weren't really good. It's some time pass kind of internship where they wanted us to do projects and give us reports, give them reports and
All
summaries
right.
and all of that. So then they were like, okay, fine. You just let them know what the truth is, so
All
they'll be
right.
fine
Fine.
with it.
So
They're not really expecting
it's
much
it's
from you.
okay, right? If you don't have an internship, also you're appearing for your placement. It's all right. Right?
It's completely fine.
All
They
right.
don't really they don't see it as a minus point. Although if you have an internship, if you have some credible work to show, then it's a major plus point.
All right. So supposing I've been selected as an intern to a particular startup or
Hmm.
company. So what is
Yeah.
obviously there'll be growth in my technical knowledge in the particular domain. So what are the other things I need to make sure I experience in the internship so that it helps me in my placement also?
Can you repeat the last part? The voice
So what
broke
are
a bit.
the like? I mean, if I'm intern to a company, obviously there'll be
Hmm.
growth in my technical knowledge and stuff. But what
Yeah.
are the other aspects I need to experience in the internship in arena so it helps me in my placement process as well?
So, okay, so about that, your technical growth will be there, but they also expect. So, let's say you're working at a company specializing in web development.
All right.
Okay, so now you'll obviously be familiar with all of these frameworks, right? React
All
JS
right.
and Express JS now. So, so they will be like they'll be glad when like to see technical growth and something like a project or product coming out of it, or deliverable coming out of it.
All right.
So that you can show, but along with that they also expect you to understand what the startup ecosystem where you worked was.
Okay.
Like they expect you to know what like they got work done from you, right? The
Okay.
people, the internship people got work done from you, but what was their end game, what was their market standpoint, and how you managed to cater to it,
All
and
right.
how far you were able to understand the the critical nature of the product you're building, or
All right.
like the soft skills that you developed during your internship.
All
All of that is very important
right.
to take care of. But although they aren't very like they aren't pinpointing and asking that, okay, we want this. We expect people who have done an internship to be able
All right.
to talk about, like, to be a very soft skilled, and I don't know if soft skilled is a word, but yeah, yeah. So they don't really expect all of that.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, so you spoke about soft skills and aptitude. So how important
Hmm.
are those in the placement process? And like, how can I focus more on those and improve on those areas?
So soft skills to put it bluntly is just a way of you know I don't know how to put it. Okay, it's like when
Selling
you want
yourself
to
to
sell
the crowd.
yourself.
All right.
Sorry.
So
uh,
selling yourself to the
like,
company. So,
yeah, selling yourself, but there was another I wanted to use another metaphor, but I don't really want to use it now. So
okay.
it's like so when you want to butter someone up,
All right.
you need a lot of soft skills. You need to when you sell yourself,
True.
when you want to tell someone that, okay, when you want to boast very nicely, very politely,
All right.
that's when you need a lot of soft skills. So when you like, I'll tell you the case with myself. Caterpillar, they had this GD round, right? A
All
group
right.
discussion round. So that's when your soft skill come into play the most. You So what I did was I was trying to be like, I was trying to make the I don't know, the
Discussion.
evaluator who was sitting there.
All right.
I wanted to make him feel like, okay, he can just sit back and relax. I'll take care of the discussion here.
All right. Okay.
So that
Smart.
is one soft skill. That's one soft skill that you can display. The other soft skill is like your posture and all of that.
All
And the
right.
third soft skill is the way you present yourself, the way you talk, the way you articulate your ideas and put forward.
All right.
So all of that is just although there's no chance that they can they can take the importance of your technical skills,
Okay.
but they can definitely help you like, although when you fall short of your technical skills, these soft skills can be your anchor. They can help you secure something that might be a lost cause in the first place.
All right. What about
Hmm.
aptitude part of it? Like the aptitude test you write. How important are those?
Aptitude test, nobody manages to crack those. I mean, preparation wise, you can start from say April, because if you start before that, you're bound to forget a lot of stuff,
Okay.
and you will be busy. So coming to how the aptitude part was conducted, how important it is. Aptitude, not a lot of companies, not a lot of good companies pay attention to aptitude like the way CIR gets it done. Like for example,
Alright.
you have your permutation, combination, and time and work and all of that, right?
Yeah.
Those are the kind of questions asked in your mass companies.
Okay.
Your Amazon or your um, like the other good companies, Cisco and all of that, don't really ask you a lot of aptitude questions.
Alright.
Or like your time and work, they'll ask you basic very simple aptitude questions like uh, jumbling of numbers and replacement and puzzles and all,
Alright.
which are very simple aptitude questions. So the that's why I said earlier that CIR training mainly focuses on your mass placement
Alright.
as far as aptitude is concerned.
Okay. Like.
So yeah, it's not very. You can let aptitude. You can start aptitude after some time. It's not a big deal.
Alright. In general, like, what is the interview? I mean, what is the placement procedure? Like, how many rounds are there? And what are the rounds you need to get to the final HR round?
Okay, so it differs from company to company.
Alright.
So a lot of software companies, a lot of your CS based like CSE companies, they have first they'll have an online test, online test round. Every company has an online test round compulsory. Where with an exception of very few, which will just do resume shortlisting.
Okay.
So with I'll tell you with what happened with CAD later. So now there'll be an online test. Then based on this online test, they'll shortlist you based on your scores alone.
Alright.
I don't think they look at the way you approach the problems and all, because they're like 1.2k people. I don't think they do that.
Alright.
So 700 people, and all of this happens in a span of 2-3 days.
Okay.
So continuously. So you'll have your resume. You'll have your online test. Then comes your first technical interview.
Alright.
And this is where the companies differ. You can either have a first technical interview or you can have a group discussion.
Okay.
So we had the most companies, they have a technical interview right away. Then depending on the level, like if you want to work as an SD or the CTC is very high, or if you are working in a product-based company, like if you're looking for a product-based company
Alright.
or a startup, those companies really focus on grilling you hard. So that's why there'll be a second technical round, probably a third technical round also.
Okay.
So with your first technical round, they'll be focused on your probably your projects, or mostly your projects and the work you've done.
Alright.
Second technical round will be based on your DSA, and like they'll give you a DSA problem and you'll have 45 minutes to solve it in front of them.
Okay.
Like you'll have to share screen and solve it. Third technical round, I'm not sure. It can again be your projects, or it can be on, let's say you have additional skills like your AWS or your blockchain. So they might ask you questions on that. So that can be a third technical round. Although third technical round is very rare. Very few companies like startups do it.
Okay.
Because startups are very particular about their cash, right? Startups pay a lot. Startups pay like they have the highest CTC, but to get that CTC, they'll grill you a lot. So startups will have a third technical round. Then will come your HR round. Like after your third technical round will come your HR round.
Alright.
So in your HR round, HR round is I wouldn't say that it's like usually at first it was considered that if you got into HR, that means that's it, you have an offer.
Okay.
But I wouldn't say that, because like I've actually seen people getting out of HR and stuff like that. So HR is basically to see whether your goals, your focus aligns with that of the company.
Alright.
With the goals of the
company. But knowing more of the company, if you know of the company well enough.
Like they'll ask you stuff about the company. Okay. They'll give you some situations. They'll be like, tell me about a time where you felt like a friend was very sad and you managed to convince him, you managed to make him happy and stuff like that. Or tell me about a time where your project group wasn't really cooperating, but then you got them on board. So those are the kind of questions they'll ask you, and they'll gauge you based on your response. And they'll also, while you're responding, they'll see how it aligns with their company, like what their company's vision is, what their values are. So based on this, after your HR round, you'll get your offer in like in maximum a day's time. Again, depends on the company.
So when a company comes for the placement offers, what are the things that we need as a student? We need to look into those job what the company brings in. It's a job role or what they specialize on. What is the thing we need to look into so that we stand a chance in clearing those placements?
So when a company comes in, first you'll have some predefined notion of the company, right?
Yeah.
Like you might think, like, let's say a company, Atlassian, comes in.
Alright.
So Amrita people know that Atlassian brings the highest CTC on campus.
Okay.
So they'll have their own their own ideas about Atlassian. They'll be like, okay, this is the highest CTC, but does it actually cater to what you want?
Okay.
In the long run, do you really want to just be a software engineer, or are you going for the CTC so that you can save up and then go abroad for higher studies?
Higher studies, yeah.
So yeah, so first you look at your personal goals, because you don't want to get married to the company.
Correct.
So yeah, so you look at your personal stuff, then you look forward to then you look at what the company has to offer you.
Alright.
Like, let's say the company has a really good like the company they are very flexible with their food, and like they give you free food, free healthcare, and
Benefits,
you
extra
get
benefits.
benefits. Yeah, so that you look into that, if that's important to you. Then comes your obviously CTC was first. Then comes your like how convenient it's going to be for you, and how easily you can adapt to that role.
Alright.
So like if you can see yourself relating to that role, and if you can see yourself working in that role for at least 5 years. I know you'll be working only for 1 or 2 years and then go for masters, but just consider 5 years, because those 2 years will end up feeling like 5 years for you if you don't like it.
Yeah.
So you have to look into all of that, and then you go for the company. But ground reality, I'll tell you, you won't really look into all of this, because things will happen so fast. There'll be so many companies coming in all the time that you will end up registering for each and every company.
Alright.
Like until you have at least one offer in hand.
I mean, yeah, you
So
want to
after you
save
have one
backup
offer in
option
hand,
as well, right?
yeah. So after you have one offer in hand, that's when you get confidence that, now I'm going to look after myself. Now I'm going to think about, what makes me happy. And I'll go for the companies that are better than the one I have right now.
Right now, yeah.
So like that'll come to you as and when you go. Like you'll see companies coming with their own set of benefits, their own set of additional stuff. So that, like, you will understand how to compare and contrast as and when you get into the placement process.
Okay. Like you spoke about, like initially you didn't get into companies, and later on, like maybe in 2 or 3 months when a company came, you got into it. So what's the mood when you don't get your own company? How do you get back and start preparing for the next companies?
So that first you'll feel like 4 years of engineering all down the drain, and you haven't really done much with your life and all of that. But then eventually you'll get used to the rejections, and you'll learn to move on. It's like so Cisco came in and they selected out of like say 1.2k people, they selected 70 people.
All right.
51 people or 58 people, I'm not sure. It was in the 50 to 70 range.
All right.
So that was filtering back then, and back then I never knew DSA. So even then I was like fully disappointed, because I thought that I didn't know that there would be this online test where they'll filter so many candidates.
Okay.
I thought that at least once I get to talk to the interviewer, that interview will fall flat, and then he'll be like, okay, this guy's really good and all that.
All right.
That never came. So then I realized, okay, there's an online test. Okay, we have to study for the online test. So then next company came again, DSA got wrecked. Now like, okay, DSA is my weak point. So I started studying for DSA. Like I started working out problems, but then again there was a lot of distraction. Like I said, third year. So third year I had I wasn't ready to compromise on my projects and all that. So because I was really interested in what I was doing. So the projects I did, DSA, I was like, chuck it. Like your idea is that for me it was that companies are rejecting me anyway. So why should I spend so much time working on DSA when I know that I'm about to get rejected? Okay. So it can change for different people. Like different people might be like, okay, now you rejected me, I'll work on my DSA, I'll come back later. Okay. So for me it was like, chuck it, I'm not wasting my time here, I'll invest my time in a project instead of doing all this, because I didn't like DSA anyway. So that's how it worked for me. And to answer your question, it's like you'll get used to it. Like once, as and when you face rejections, you will be sad, but then later you'll be like, you'll like with every passing company, you will become better. Now the point is that it's in your hand how fast you want to become better. It's like, do you really take it sportingly and you actually grind, you
You grind yourself
you
up.
grind a
Right?
lot, and you grind a lot and you go forward and work a lot on DSA and crack crack a nice company that comes up, because the good companies, they end by around October.
Okay.
Then after that, there's only
Mass recruiters and all that.
mass recruiters come during October, but after that there's only a handful of companies that come very rarely, here and there.
Okay.
So you want to make sure that if you get better, you get better fast.
All right.
So that's the only thing on your mind, because at first it's like, okay, the company comes, you get rejected, you're sad, and then you're like, oh shit, this company is coming tomorrow, I'm gonna have to make myself better by then. Like I have to do better than what I did today.
Correct.
So there's no like, once you get into the process, you'll understand there's no time for grieving and stuff like that, because you want to seize the opportunity now. Because you're in a college is bringing nice companies, nice good opportunities to you. uh, you don't want to waste these opportunities, because once you get out of college, it's going to be hard to even cold contact a good company and get into get a chance to interview with them.
Correct.
College is giving you that chance for free, right?
Right.
So you want to make the most out of the chance. So that is why you'll be like, okay, I'll let me put this aside and let me start working properly for the next one.
All right.
I mean, that didn't happen with me, because I don't know, I thought that data structures and all I won't do, I'll just go and work on the project instead.
All
But
right.
I'm pretty sure a lot of people, I've seen a lot of my friends do that. Like they'll be like, okay, I'll study for DSA, I'll crack it, and they actually did. So
All right.
that's what I'm saying.
So you spoke about certifications, like how important are certifications, and like what are the sources where you can get certifications from?
Certifications, okay. So certifications, they are important. They can be put on your resume, but again, depends on the kind of certification you have. Like for example, if you have a Coursera certification or like an NPTEL certification, those are not really worth it, because that anyone can complete a course and get a certification, right?
Okay.
But they are worth it if you have done something with that knowledge you got.
All right.
Like if you let's say you did the TensorFlow and specialization course, or you did the deep learning course from Andrew NG from Coursera. So if you have the certification, that's good. But if you have done something with that certification, if you have done something with that knowledge, and if you have a project within the same resume with the link to it, then that counts. Then that's a really good push. That's a really good stand for your resume. But just certification won't cut it. Like if you want just certification, then it has to be from a creditable source. Like for example, if you have an AWS certification, then just having the certification is a good thing, because you will actually write a test. You'll pay 5K for the test, and you'll actually write the test properly, and you'll get the certification based on your performance. So that AWS is there, then your CCNA certification is there. Yeah. Those are actually, for CCNA you have to pay 35K to write the test, right? So all of that is highly valuable. So just having a certification for those is enough. But Coursera certification and all of that, though, they only count when you have done something with that knowledge. So yeah.
So we'll end this podcast. Like, can you share a few tips and tips and ideas or things a student must keep in mind while preparing?
So I'll just tell you what I feel. So I don't know. See, it's like right now everyone is going to be looking for placements, right? Although they want to go for higher studies, they will try their hand at placements. But and in order to be able to do that, they will try to make themselves more employable. Like try to get better at DSA and all of that. But what I want to say is that we are all so engrossed in trying to be employable for others. I don't know how to say this, but it's like we want to be better. We think that getting better means getting more employable, right? It's like we try to acquire skills just so that someone picks us up. But we don't really look at what we want. We don't really look at the stuff that will make us happy. Like it's been like that from the beginning. It's like let's say from the beginning, before your college, you think of going to an IIT. Why do you want to go to an IIT? Because you get really good packages in an IIT. So that there itself it starts. You want to be more employable.
Right.
You want to work. You want to be a nice, good employee. Like you want to be a good employee with a nice salary. But I don't think that's the mindset you should go with. You should go
Right.
with right now is the time where you can look into the future and see what you actually want to do. Like if you want to be a person, I mean, of course, you'll have to work for some time. You'll have to be an employee for some time, but look into the long run. Like, you'll have. Do you want to do something hardcore? Like, do you want to probably invest all the money you have in a business, or you want to make your money make more money, or do you want to leave engineering altogether and start a business? So invest more time on that rather than trying to be more employable for the other person.
All right.
Yeah. So
That's a very good thing as well. Yeah.
and it's not like these recruiters can decide your future, right? It's
Correct.
just a bunch of people coming to your college and deciding whether you can get into the company or not.
Correct.
And that cannot, frame whatever you have in store for you.
Correct.
You cannot let that happen. So it's just this placement and all can seem very scary from the outside, but in the end, it's just people judging other people.
Correct.
And that cannot really decide the course of, like, the kind of the quality of life that you lead later on. It'll just decide the pace at which you lead that life.
Correct.
So even if you don't manage to crack the company, or even if you fall short, or even if you you feel like you deserve a greater CTC than you were given, all of that doesn't really matter, because you're just a fresher out of college. This is going to stay for like 2-3 years.
Correct.
After which you go on to write, after which you go on to do whatever you want, whatever you feel like.
Yeah.
So your first 2-3 years will be out of your hand, because I'm given to believe that not everyone's father has a really huge business which they can take over.
Right.
So they have to work and
Yeah.
make a name for themselves. So think along those lines. Don't really try to be more employable.
Alright.
Try to look forward and see what makes you happy.
All right.
See what you really want to do, what you really want to invest your time in, and then go according to that. So yeah, that's it.
Okay. Thank you so much. It's very thoughtful. So thank you so much for this episode, Yash.
Yeah, no problem.
Pleasure talking to
Yeah,
you again.
cool.